Hello and welcome back. We're taking a look today at what to do if you want peace. So, if you truly want peace, what do you do? Well, the quick and simple answer, because all of these answers are very quick and they're very simple. Really, they all are. If you want peace, you simply give up conflict entirely and for all time. Just that. Give up conflict entirely and for all time. The end. Now, let's say some more about that. Because this is a classic example. Here in the world, we complicate things, and simplicity simply escapes us. The obvious, that which is right in front of our face, so to speak, escapes our awareness because we've chosen complexity and separation and all of the guilt and fear that goes along with that choice. Therefore, the obvious escapes us. No longer. No longer. Enter A Course in Miracles. Enter spiritual practice where these simple ideas have a place of prominence, as they should. They're true. And we hear them over and over and over again until we begin to contemplate them further and further. See where I'm going with this? And further until you're aware of nothing but perfect oneness. We're in the midst of chapter 7 of the text, section 6, From Vigilance to Peace. That's the title of the section, and we'll talk a little bit about vigilance today. Vigilance is entirely unnecessary, and it has no place in peace, because there's nothing to be vigilant either for or against. In peace, which we all deep down want, the peace of God, there is no opponent. There is no other. There is only perfect peace, so one does not need to have vigilance. We don't have to be on the lookout. So we're instructed to be vigilant only for God and his kingdom. What we mean by that is we're vigilant against incorrect beliefs. We're vigilant against beliefs that aren't true. We're paying attention, in other words. We're aware and we're developing and we're cultivating the awareness of everything that is not of God, so that we may forgive it. Forgive and release. When we forgive and release everything that is not true, what happens is we're left with truth, which simply is and has always been. We're clearing the barriers that we ourselves have erected to our awareness of truth. Jesus, in the Course, here puts it, we're clearing the barriers to our awareness of love's presence. we're clearing the barriers to our awareness of God's presence. We're clearing the barriers to our awareness of truth. That's what spiritual practice is, regardless of the outward form that it may take. And of course, there are many of those. They all lead to the same place in the end. They all lead to God in the end. Now, you're interested in A Course in Miracles, which states that it can save you time, lots of time. How much time? I don't know, a lot. Ultimately, there is no time. There's only eternity. God is. So here in the illusion, while our mind is split, because it is, when we see ourselves as separate, when we see ourselves as an ego, a human being, a separate individual self-sustaining survival unit. I'll never get tired of saying that because it's so appropriate to this discussion. When we see ourselves that way, our mind is necessarily split and torn. A part of our mind remembers God. It's our inner teacher who remembers God. And the other part believes in this fairy tale of separation. And it's not a happy fairy tale where we're swept off our feet. It's a painful fairy tale of pain and ignorance, conflict, and death. And it's not real. The physical body comes and goes. Yeah, sure. It's not you. If this is the first time that you're hearing that, you'll hear it again. And if you stick around here, of course, you'll hear it from me, but you'll hear it from other spiritual teachers and other spiritual traditions. Welcome to the path. And deep down, we all know this. We do know this, or we would not be interested in this material in the first place. Like we just said a minute ago, there is a part of our mind that remembers who we are. We're waking up. That's why they call enlightenment awakening. It's clearing the clutter. It's waking up to the truth of who we are. So here, while we appear to be this image in the mirror, this image on your screen, pixelated image, how all this stuff actually forms and how this broadcasts, I have no idea. But I'm happy that we're able to communicate with each other in this way. The Holy Spirit's using it. Yeah. I mean, if you're on the internet a lot, you can give over all of your internet activity to the Holy Spirit and extend love to the Son of God. I mean, you can. We do this with all aspects of our lives because we're always interrelating. There's only one of us. So, of course, we're interrelating to every single other thing. There are no others. We're one. And we're always teaching here in the world. So you may not have a YouTube channel and turn on a camera and microphone and broadcast to a global audience. That's my own particular directive. Yours may look very, very differently. However, it's imperative to get in touch with your inner teacher and do what your inner teacher suggests, because there are people out there that will relate best to you for whatever reason. They're ready to hear the Holy Spirit through you. Through you. You'll relate to them better than I will, or someone else will. They're ready for you. And you most certainly do not have to hold yourself out as a teacher or an instructor or a professor or anything like that here in the world. To teach is to demonstrate. So we demonstrate the thought system that we adhere to. There are two of those. There are two. That's it. That's the choice that we have in the present moment. Thought system of the Holy Spirit, ego. God, ego. Life, death. Light, dark. Truth, illusion. Self with a capital S, little lowercase ego, self-sustaining survival unit. That's the choice. Characterize it however you will, whatever words you feel comfortable using. And that's the choice that we make in the present moment. And our choice is total. We actually can't be conflicted, which is how we find ourselves in the world. We want to adopt the thought system of the Holy Spirit wholeheartedly, yet we're so accustomed to the ego that we're afraid. And it's actually one or the other. We can't remain in the state where we appear to find ourselves with a conflicted mind. That's why it's said here in the Course that forgiveness is either total or it's not at all. We choose one thought system or the other. The two are 180 degrees opposite from one another to the point where they don't communicate and don't recognize each other. The Holy Spirit sees all our stuff but doesn't believe it. It's the part of our mind that is the communication link to God. The universal inspiration, the voice for God. Our inner teacher goes by many, many names. And again, it makes absolutely no difference what you choose to call it. It's really an it, isn't it? Because the Holy Spirit's not a human being. I mean, if you're not a human being, neither is the Holy Spirit. Hearing that idea for the first time, you are spirit. Spirit doesn't have form. It does not have form. It does not have age. It does not have height, weight, gender. It's spirit. It's who we are, the Son of God, the thought of God. Oh, and by the way, ideas leave not their source, thought of God, capital S. Our inner teacher invites us to sit with that a lot. Ideas leave not their source. Where are you? What are you? Who are you? I know you know. We all know. If we didn't know deep down, there would be no such thing here in the world as spirituality. We wouldn't be inclined to this material at all. And here you are. Excellent. Yes, excellent. So while we appear to be here running amok with all of our bills to pay, with our email to check, with all of the obligations that we've heaped upon ourselves in this completely made up world, while we appear to be here, we need vigilance. Vigilance for God and his kingdom, vigilance against beliefs that aren't true. You are not separate from your brother. There is no separation, period. There never has been. The thought of separation is simply a mistake. The ego is simply a mistake. There is no separation of any kind, therefore there is no ego. Now, when we identify with the ego, we experience guilt and fear and judgment and extreme anxiety. Now, the ego is fearful. It's correct in one thing and one thing only, that you will set it aside. Now, the question of when is largely up to you. You could choose to delay as long as you want. You could delay the remainder of this lifetime and refuse to practice spirituality, refuse to forgive the Son of God. You could. That's your choice. Now, each of us on the spiritual path is surrounded by friends and family members and people that are close to us who do not share our desire for the peace of God and only the peace of God. So there are people that you know that think you're crazy for listening to these ideas. And you may feel kind of crazy sometimes yourself. I think that's an absolutely normal part of the path. Why is it normal? Well, because this course aims to reverse thought systems. It's for us to switch from the thought system of the ego to the thought system of the Holy Spirit. Completely switch. It's a complete and total switch, which either is or it's not. Yet when you begin to glimpse the sheer beauty and the power, the joy, the magnificence of the thought system of the Holy Spirit, then the little petty desires of the ego seem rather dim and unattractive. This is an experience that we'll all have. If you're not having that yet, stick around. You will. When? This is largely up to you again. And your present moment decision for God or for separation. We think here in the world that we can have both, yet that's impossible. And why? There's no separation at all. So our mind actually can't be separate. It's an illusion. This conflicted mind is just as illusory as the world itself. The mind chooses one or the other. So we're invited to choose joy and peace. So here, while we think we're in conflict, we make a decision in the present moment to let conflict go entirely and for all time. That's what we do if we want peace and really mean it. Let conflict go entirely and for all time. As a practical matter, when you find yourself unable to do this, which happens, my invitation to you is to ask your inner teacher for guidance. Ask your inner teacher for help in letting conflict go. And as I often say, when it comes to forgiveness, start with what you're capable of. Forgive yourself for spilling coffee on your pant leg this morning. Let me start with that. Forgive the weather, maybe. Forgive the air temperature outside. If it's too hot or too cold for your liking today, forgive it. Forgive the passing clouds. Forgive yourself for dreaming it. Start with what you feel capable of. If you don't feel at this present point in time that you can forgive the ego, that you can forgive the world and everyone in it, start with little pieces of that and build from there. As you release them, your inner teacher presents you with more opportunities to forgive and release. This entire world, when seen with our inner teacher, is a forgiveness opportunity on a platter. Everything that appears in our experience that makes us uncomfortable in any way, and I mean annoyed, anything that annoys us, anything that causes an instant judgment reflex in us, like someone's hateful social media posts, for example, anything that is not wholly joyous is an opportunity for forgiveness. And here in the world, where we also experience tremendous beauty, anything that's beautiful and that is uplifting to you is symbolic. It's symbolic of our oneness. It's symbolic of love. It's symbolic of our limitlessness as Christ. It's symbolic of our joy as Christ, our peace, our radiance, our magnificence as Christ, just as God created us. It's very helpful in practice to bear that in mind. So when you experience a beautiful sunset, it's symbolic of our radiance as Christ. When you experience a limitless vista, it's symbolic of our limitlessness as Christ. Thank you. Now, try that. Try to remind yourself of that and see how you feel. Truth is, we've never left our source. And if we say we want the peace of God, we're invited to do what it takes to clear the barriers to our awareness of the peace of God. And that includes giving up conflict entirely and for all time. All right. Thank you, as always, for joining me. And I very much appreciate all of the recent comments and questions that you have asked. Please, please, please keep them coming. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have some dialogue specifically related to some of these questions. That is what we're here for. And yes, we're going in what appears to be a linear fashion through the text, but we can most certainly pause our parade through the text of A Course in Miracles. It will still be there after we address specific questions, which we'll do next in the next video. So there have been a number of really excellent questions, and we'll have a video just devoted to those. And please keep them coming. Thank you so much for reaching out. It really, really is heartening and wonderful to me to see that you all are dedicated and committed to your spiritual practice. So I thank you so much for that. That is the highest and best form of offering you could ever give anyone anywhere. That's what the world needs. It's what our brother needs, is your dedication and commitment to practice. So the fact that you're checking in here and asking questions and leaving comments shows your dedication and commitment. So thank you for that. And if you have not yet subscribed, we'd love to have you. This is the subscription button here in the corner. It's the red arrow. So go ahead and click that. And we'd love to have you join us here. What we've got is a growing international community of people that are interested in A Course in Miracles. So yes, if that is you, please join us, and we'll see you all again here next time.